Namaskar, hearty welcome to you all to today's episode of Sitar Learning Essentials. Today we are starting the series on Meend, that is the deflection of the string. So for this, there are few prerequisites which we will quickly discuss and then we will go to the actual subject. When we start playing sitar, mostly for initial few months, we just play on the frets. Be it any straightforward movement like sapat movement or any kind of pattern based movement like palta or anything else, whatever we play, they are based on just fret. But as we know, a higher note can be achieved by pulling the string from the lower notes. For an example, as we are playing sa re ga ma pa, similarly we can achieve this same thing at least in any standard sitar today till 5 notes. Means from sa we can, by pulling the Meend, we can go till pa. Even in some sitars we can go to komal dha also. That means 5.5 means sa to re to ga to ma, and ma to pa, and then from the komal dha also. But in any standard sitar today, pulling 5 notes, Meend covering 5 notes is quite possible. But initially when we start learning and start practicing, we gradually increase the range. On the first day we don't pull Meend of 5 notes. First we start with 1 and 2 notes. So I will just show you by 1 note first, sa, and then re. So let me achieve this re by pulling from sa. Then ga. Then ma, sa to ma, shuddha ma. I am taking the reliable scale, all the shuddha notes. Yeah. Sa to pa. Now there is a specific point till which we have to pull, and then only we will achieve that particular note. It is very important to develop the sense till which point we need to pull. Now when we play on fret, it is very definite position which visually we can find where the fret is there. Okay? When we are playing on fret, we know this is re. So because there is a visual reference and a physical reference of the fret. This is re, this is ga, this is ma, this is pa, this is dha, this is ni. Again, this is komal ga, and this gap is for komal re. Then this is shuddha ga, and this is tivra ma. Pa we told, then this is the gap for komal dha. This dhaivat fret can be moved here to play komal dha, then komal ni. So effectively all the 12 notes we can play on fret. But while playing the Meend, the main problem, why it is so difficult, Meend is one of the most difficult subject in sitar in my opinion. Why it is so difficult to play on Meend is there is no physical reference till which point we have to pull the Meend to achieve that particular note without being besura, without going off key. Okay? So for tuning sitar and for playing Meend, having the sense of tune is absolutely necessary. Unless and until we have the proper sense of tuning and the position of the notes, position of the proper microtone, it will be very difficult to play Meend because it is totally based on andaz or idea, right? On the position of the shruti or the microtone. So couple of things which we need to maintain as we are having the benefit of as while playing sitar, we are having the benefit of having the frets, and we can have the idea of the notes while playing on the frets. So whenever in the beginning we play any phrase through Meend, if we try to develop the sense of this gap, how much we have to pull, better we play the particular note on fret first, the destination note on fret first, then have an idea. Okay, this is the position. Re. Now if I from sa I will pull, so I have not reached. So this is actually not the proper position. I will show you by doing little mistake, and then I will actually play the actual note. And if you are not reaching the actual position, it can be either lower than the desired position or the higher than the desired position. Okay, so initially it might happen that you will not be able to reach the destination properly, but you need to understand with the sense of your tuning and sense of the proper position of the shruti that whether you are in proper position or not. So let me show you what I am saying. Re. So I have not actually reached to the position of re, so I can understand now whether it is low or high. So if it is low, this is low actually, then from there how much we have to pull to achieve re, and just reaching, once you reach at the proper position, right, then you have to sustain, because when we will play something while performance, right, then just reaching that particular point is not enough, and we have to stay there. So even after reaching the point, this should not, the pulling of the string should not get released. Then initially you might achieve the proper position, but later you will deviate from there, or you should not pull more. Eventually you have to stay there. So better we play some bowl where we can understand the sustenance. So just reaching there is not enough, the sustenance is also required. So I'm playing on fret to get the idea about the position of the note, and I'm trying to replicate the same sound while pulling the note, pulling the Meend. While playing, if you go a little higher or little lower, then you need to adjust instead of just releasing it immediately. So for an example, if I position to a little bit higher position than actual ma, so this is not the proper position of ma, then instead of, don't release it. If it is Besura, you can understand, then try to understand whether it is high or low. If it is high, then release it to make it to the proper position. And if it is low, then make it a little bit higher to reach to the proper position. This is low, then I adjusted. If I go a little higher, so initial phase you might have this kind of little deviation. So instead of just releasing it that Meend, you need to adjust. Then that will help you to understand how much to release or how much to pull more to achieve that particular proper position, and to build your idea about the extent how much we have to pull. this is the ascending movement we have done. Now in the descending or avarohi movement, don't do the avarohi varna, do the arohi varna itself, because pulling from lower to higher is the most crucial in the beginning. So which is called straight meend, Siddha meend. And ulta meend means if you are coming from higher to lower, so means you are pulling first and then releasing. Initially we should not do that. Okay, initially we should only practice on arohi varna. So whatever you have done, nisa, you then dhani, then padha, then mapa. In the initial phase, just do this one. Also, it is very important to maintain certain rule. So, if you have seen, I am playing mi, sa, sa. Okay, 4 strokes. 1 on the previous note from where we are pulling, and then 3 strokes on the next note, the destination, the source and the destination. 1 stroke on the source, which is ni, and then 3 strokes in the destination, that is sa. And then we are pulling 4 blocks of darada, darada, dara. So this discipline also is very important, and to do in the rhythm also it is very important. Then you will get a feel of chand. Many people ask me this riyaz or practice sessions are extremely monotonous because we keep on doing the same thing again and again. So basically you have to find your own way to make that interesting. If you do it in the sur, and if you do it in the rhythm, and if your inner instinct finds a chand out of it, chand means this a rhythmic pattern or rhythmic variation, then you will find it interesting. You have to make your practice session interesting by making that in sur and lay. If you find your practice session or riyaz monotonous or non-interesting, then definitely either of these components are not being present, the accuracy, and also you need to involve your conscious mind in your practice so that your mind is involved, not only your body keeps on executing. So we will have a different session how to make riyaz more effective. Now another important aspect before we conclude, let me discuss in this session that in the first level you just focus on the consecutive notes, don't do the skip notes. That means don't do pull from sa to ga or sa to ma or sa to pa. Always do sa to re first, then re to ga, just one note, ga to ma to pa. Do it in different scales, different thirds. So I have shown you in bilaval. So you can try doing this in purvi third. Okay, purvi third means sa komal re, shuddha ga, tivra ma, pa, komal dha, shuddha ni sa. So in that the relative distance between the consecutive notes gets changed. For an example, here you will get the difference between re to ga and dha to ni, which is big gap. So in bilaval scale, bilaval third, you will not get this big distance, or in Kalyan third, you will not get this big distance between the consecutive note. So this distance, re to shuddha ga, komal re to shuddha ga, you will only get in the thirds like Bhairav or Purvi, like that. Okay. Now there are 3 distinct type of differences between two consecutive notes. So you have seen when we played Nis and Sa, the distance is very small. You see, there is no gap, big gap like this, right, between Ni and Sa. So we cannot place another note in between Ni and Sa, or Shuddha Ga and Shuddha Ma. So that distance between Ni and Shuddha Ni and Sa, or Ga to Shuddha Ma, or Pa to Komal Dha, right, is the small one, small distance. Then for all this, you see the distance between fret is less, so we have to pull the similar extent. So basically we have to decode the length between the notes, which is between the fret, it is, we can see it is the horizontal difference, okay, between. Now we have to convert it to vertical difference. So if Ni to Sa is this much, we have to pull less. If you know, Komal Re to Komal Ga, you see it is a medium distance because there is a gap and we can place only one fret in between. For an example, Shuddha Ga to Tivra Ma, only one note is there in between, which is Shuddha Ma. So that is the medium distance. So which is the same difference between Sa to Shuddha Re, in between Komal Re comes, and Pa to Shuddha Dha, in between Komal Dha comes. So for that we have to decode that medium distance into pulling. So how much we have to pull between Ni to Sa, Shuddha Ni to Sa? Definitely we have to pull more to achieve from Komal Ni to Sa, because Shuddha Ni comes in the middle. So Shuddha Ni to Sa is this much, less pulling, small distance. From Komal Ni to Sa it is definitely double of that, so it is the medium distance. Because Komal Ni to Shuddha Ni and Shuddha Ni to Sa, we are pulling that in one go. Instead of going Komal Ni to Shuddha Ni to Sa, instead of doing that, we are directly pulling between Ni to Sa, because chromatic notes we generally don't play in our classical music. Excuse me. So this is medium distance between Komal Ni to Sa. Be it Komal Ga to Shuddha Ma, you see Shuddha Ga is coming in between, so it is a medium distance. Now we have seen small distance and medium distance. Now large distance. Large distance we have shown you between Komal Re to Shuddha Ga, where you can see one gap and another fret. So there is a gap of two notes between Komal Re to and Shuddha Ga. There will be two notes, one is Shuddha Re and Komal Ga. So pulling from Komal Re to Shuddha Ga will be definitely more, because fret distance between these two notes are more. Re to Shuddha Ga is the large distance. Komal Re to Shuddha Ga is large distance. Komal Re to Komal Ga is medium distance. Then, and if we do Komal Re to Shuddha Re, we generally don't do, because chromatic notes we don't practice generally. So that same distance we can get from Sa to Komal Re. This is small distance. So if you have these three distinct distances, small, medium and large, embedded in your, or if this is actually, if you achieve it in your muscle memory, right? If it is there in your muscle memory, what is the distinct distances between two consecutive notes, then playing means will be easier. Okay, so this is very important. And two things, as I told, when you in initial phase, when you actually practice the Meend, you first need to play the destination note on fret to get the note registered in your ears, and then achieve that by pulling. Okay, so everywhere, in every time you have seen, I am playing the fret first and then pulling the Meend. This is the sound of Dha, Komal Dha, and I am pulling from Pa to Dha. Ni, Shuddha Ni, Komal Dha to Shuddha Ni. Sa, Ni to Sa, Shuddha Ni to Sa, in that way. And another suggestion, when you practice on Meend, keep the Tanpura on in low volume, so that always there is a reference of Sa in is there. And against that you can validate the Shruti or the microtone of the notes which you are actually achieving by playing on Meend. Okay, so two things: first, play on fret first and then achieve that through Meend, and second thing, have the Tanpura on in a low volume, so that the notes which you are deriving by playing on Meend, you can evaluate whether it is proper or improper, whether it is in sur or it is besura, by cross-checking that against the sa which is all continuously being played by the Tanpura. So these are the two things you follow. And Meend is such a vast subject that in one episode we will not be able to conclude. We will have a series on Meend, so keep watching the series. And those who have not subscribed to our channel, please do that and click on the bell icon to get all the notifications, because we are coming up with many such educative, informative and interesting learning sessions to you in future. Thank you so much. Stay in tune, do practice well and stay musical. Namaskar.